we're at Nuccio, and this is, of course, and your name is?
Tom. I'm Tom Nuccio. Happy to have you guys come to our nursery and take a look at our nursery. And basically, we grow camellias and azaleas. We specialize in those two things. We have a few other items as well, but basically it's camellias and azaleas. And my dad and uncle started this as a backyard nursery in Alhambra, and they moved up to Altadena, our present location, in late 1946. So we've been here since that time up here in Altadena. They started in Alhambra in 1935. And anyway, but my dad especially, he fell in love with camellias when he was about 11 years old. And that was his love, and my uncle's always been a good plantsman. But anyway, they had this backyard nursery in Alhambra, and they kept evicting my grandmother. They made her move a clothesline 3 times and her vegetable garden twice. So my grandfather figured out they needed a bigger place, so he found this place up in the boonies here in the Watt, and way out of LA, kind of on the edges of LA, in late 1946, and they've been here ever since.
Wow.
Anyway.
So this is May. I know this is pretty late for something flowering.
Yeah.
So what's flowering during right now?
Well, right now we have Satsuki azaleas, or Satsuki azaleas, the Japanese say. They're the late blooming azaleas. Most people don't see them. They think azaleas are through by now. People see Satsuki azaleas by accident more than on purpose, because they come here to buy a bag of fertilizer or something, and they say, oh, you got something still in bloom. And oh, it just started blooming. But that's been the fun of them. They give you a whole other couple of months of color that you wouldn't otherwise have.
And Satsuki means what? The
Fifth month.
So it makes sense as in May.
April, May, June, depending upon the variety. We have a few of them that are very, very late. Some will even sneak into the first part of July, but that's really late for that to do that.
And then when's the best time to come to your nursery?
You know, it depends what you want to see. Basically, for camellias, peak bloom is generally late January, early February. The azalea is about a month later, like February, March into the first part of April is our peak season on those plants. So basically, January through March is a really good time to come up here.
Okay, so I pretty much missed it. This whole coronavirus thing kind of put
right
in the middle of that time.
You can tell here. Good, excellent. So anyway.
All right, so can you show us a couple
Be happy to,
Satsukis?
sure.
And then we'll walk and
Sure,
talk.
Okay.
So
No, I think I will bring you down and back before I show you, but basically,
wow, these are.
We'll start with this one here. This is called Tamanohara. A number of the Satsukis, which makes them fascinating, is that they'll have 3 different colors on the same plant. And anyway, but this is one of them here. This is called Tamanohara. It is the largest flowered Satsuki that we grow. Bonsai people consider this a little too out of proportion for a good bonsai. The flowers are too doggone big, but wonderful garden variety. And some of these things will measure close to 4 inches across. Anyway, the ones that have multi-colors like this, it took us about 3 years to figure this out, how these work. If our cuttings come off of the branch that has the white with the stripe, this flower will give us eventually 3 different colors. We'll get the white with the stripe, we'll get a salmon one, and then we'll get a pink one, and I'm not showing you a pink one. Let's go find you a pink one. No, not on these. Let's go over here. On those smaller ones here.
Do all Satsuki azaleas have 3 color traits?
No, some of them, a lot of them are monocolor, you know. This one here, Gumpo, for example. This is pink Gumpo. It's just a solid pink.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's no, my assumption there were always 3 colors. So
no, but quite a few of them do. And here we go. Here's the pink version. So on this plant, you'll eventually get all 3 colors. Now, if the cuttings come off of this branch, we'll get the pink, we'll get the salmon, but we won't get the white. And if the cuttings come off of the salmon branch, that plant just stays salmon. It's not impossible to revert back, but that's the tendency there. And this is our own numbering system. They don't do this in Japan, but we call the white with the stripe number 1. We call the pink one number 2. And we call the dark one number 3. So our number 1 plant
has all 3
will
colors.
eventually give us 1, 2, and 3 flowers, and our number 2 plant gives you 2 and 3, and our number 3 just stays number 3. Most of the number 2s and 3s we grow by accident because our cuttings have come off the wrong branch. There are some number 2s that we do grow on purpose. Tamanaha number 2, we actually grow on purpose. We think it's a nice.
It's beautiful. I love that multicolor.
Right. So we do grow this on purpose. But anyway, but that's it on the multicolors. And then we got some that don't quite follow the rules. You know, we have one called Suzu, and I'll show you later on. It has 3 different colors in 2 different tones. It's actually a possible combination of 6 different colors. It has a white with a salmon stripe, kind of a coral pink, and then a salmon. It'll have a white with a kind of a hot pink stripe, with kind of a pinky in the middle, a light pink in the middle, and then a deeper pink also. This one took us forever to figure out, because if our cuttings come off with the white with the stripe, but it is the pink form, it'll give us the pink, 3 different colors in the pink form only. If it comes off of the branch that has the salmon stripe, we'll get all 6 combinations.
Wow.
Well, but that's kind of an exception. You know, most of the Satsukis or multicolors are tricolor. And anyway, but they're just wonderful flowers. Most of them tend to be single. There are a few doubles, but most of them tend to be single. Most of them are not this big a flower. I'll show you a typical Satsuki flower. I would say Gumpo is one of the older ones, medium-sized flower. This is a very compact plant. We consider this almost a semi-dwarf. And there are 5 variations of this, and they tend to be fairly stable. They don't tend to bounce around much. We have a white, this is the original, the pure white. We have a white that's got speckles in the throat, you know, little red speckles, so 2 whites. There's a real light pink. There's a pink that's got a hairline. There's a pink that looks kind of like this one here, with an edge on it and speckles in the throat. And then there's a salmon. And but the very compact plant, and these tend to be on the late side, like May, June.
What's the watering like? Because you know, in Southern Cal, some people do really well, some people don't.
Yeah, we treat these just like normal azaleas. There's nothing finicky or different about the Satsukis, other than that the fact that they bloom much later than everybody else. But we like on azaleas straight peat moss, or a lot of peat moss. You know, a light mix, not a heavy mix, and semi-shade for most of them. You know, all azaleas can take some full sun for part of the day, but not all day. They'll need some shade for the most part. We have a couple of hybrids we've done that can take a lot of sun, but most of them are better with a little bit of shade.
All right, that's kind of good to know.
Yeah. Okay. But here's another one here. This is Kozan, a real small, smaller flower, soft pink. These, for example, here, this is the Aqua no Hana, and a lot of the this is how should I say this? This is a monocolored Satsuki. A lot of the flowers will have a pale center. Some of the flowers come solid without the pale center. Okay, but we have found on these ones that do with the pale center that generally when the plants are young, we get a lot of solid colors. When they get a little more older and established, you see more pale centers. But this, unlike your number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, this is not a mutation. This is just a variation of the same flower. So in other words, it doesn't matter where the cuttings come from on this. You're always going to get this variation where some will show some little bit of center and some don't. The Satsukis as a group tend to be compact plants. They tend to be single flowers, just very clean and refreshing looking flowers. There's a lavender over there called Shiko no Kagami, and it varies from flower to flower as to if you have a purple edge or almost no purple edge. Again, this is not a mutation, but it's just a variation of the same thing. Like over this here, this is almost all lavender and not showing any purple on the edge. But it doesn't matter where the cuttings come from or which plant you get, they'll have that variation on the same plant.
Wow.
Okay.
How do you memorize all these?
We don't. I have a tendency, there's about 5 words, names on these Japanese Satsuki azaleas that you see a lot. Kagami, Hikari, Homari, Suki, and a lot of them have a no in between, and the no is like apostrophe S, and if I'm not careful, I'm making up names. I'll put a Yatano Hikari, which doesn't exist, but it might be a Yatano Kagami instead. So I tend to at the beginning of every season, I have to relearn the names sometimes. But anyway.
Yeah, let's see some different plants.
Yeah, sure. Okay, okay.
Well,
Well, here's an example here. number 2s, number 3s. Here's an example of we have too many number 2s and 3s because our cuttings came off of the wrong branches. This is Econ here, and we want it. This is what we want it to grow. The nice light, very light, almost whitish pink with pink and deeper colors. All 3 colors here. Here's all these came number 2 here. We did not propagate these on purpose, just because our cuttings come off of the wrong branch. So as they bloom, we separate it. You know. But anyway, and there's some number 3s right here. So you can see all three forms right close by. Okay, now let's go down the back. Well, actually, here's the gumpos. Here's the rest of the gumpo family right there.
What is the gumpo family?
Gumpo is a variety of Satsuki azalea, compact. Before my dad and my mom went to Japan purposely years ago to see the Satsuki azaleas in Japan, and they came back with some 300 varieties of these things. We're still trying to sort them out, you know. Prior to that, we had about a dozen varieties, and the gumpos were some of the original Satsukis that we had. Okay, the original gumpo is just white. I'll show you down here. It's white. This is gumpo. There's one that's not on this bench I'll show you. This is gumpo, just white. And these are sports or mutations. Gumpos are very stable. They're unlike the Tamanohara that every flower is going to be a surprise. Once in a while you'll get a sport on these guys here. Anyway, the sports that have popped through the years. This is the darkest, a pink gumpo, which is actually a salmon. Same plant, just different color flower. The far one down there with the white, with the reddish throat, and the hairline edge to it, that's gumpo variegated. And then way on the other side is Gun B, and it's the lightest of the pinks. This is Gun B. It's the lightest of the pinks.
Oh, wow.
Now, the reason why they're on the bench, rabbits tend to like gumpos. We get cottontail rabbit chewing our gumpos for some reason, so we put them on a bench so they can't reach them.
Ah, interesting.
So, yeah, we get a good recipe for rabbit, I think. So. Okay, here's Econ here that we're going for stock. We think there's a good number 1s here. So, and what I'll do later on, if there's a lot of the wrong color on the plant, I'll mark that branch with a little map. I'll put a little map on the label to show where to take the cuttings and not take the cuttings. Anyway, Suki, really busy. Another one of the Satsuki is just really busy plant. But if our cuttings come off with a dark branch, for example, we'll end up with just a solid dark plant. Anyway, here's the other gumpo that was not on that bench. This is Gun Ray, and the only difference between gumpo and Gun Ray are the speckles in the throat. It's a minor difference, you know, but it's just got a little bit of color in the throat.
Wow.
Yeah, but look how nice and compact that they're. A wonderful landscape azalea, nice, tight, and compact. A lot of people use the Satsukis for bonsai because that's what they do in Japan. They use it for bonsai, but they're just wonderful landscape azaleas as well too.
What's the like longevity of these azaleas?
You know, God, azaleas can go a long time. We tell people in California, well, azaleas look good, kind of leave them alone. Azaleas will give you a warning typically, but you lose a branch here and there because when that happens, that means they're either too long in the container, the peat moss is broken down through the years, or if it's in the garden or in the ground, the same situation, your original planting material has broken down and not as good aeration, and it's just a slow rot. The best medicine is to lift them up and redo them. But to answer your questions, how long azaleas can live, God, there's some azaleas in the deep south that are 100 years old or more. We've seen some in Japan that are a couple hundred years old. So they can live a pretty good long life, you know. But there's some in Southern California gardens that are 50 years old. But then you get these old plantings where they just start to go downhill. It's time to lift them up and refreshen the soil. And azaleas are very forgiving having the roots messed up. Camellias, on the other hand, are not. Azaleas, you can get by with almost a third root damage. And the plants,
wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's better to prune them back a little bit. You're going to do some severe damage. You want to prune them back a little bit, kind of balance things off. But they're pretty forgiving as far as getting the roots roughed up and dug up and moved around. And
that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's good to hear from a grower. You know,
you don't have to be too gingerly by doing them. Here's another one. It's called Kaze, and this is except this flower here. That's a number 3 there, but these are number 1s, and look how variable number 1s are. They either go from real busy to not so busy, and I'm not sure what the best way to take the cuttings on these. So just but I like it when it does everything on the same plant like that. We get a real mix of combinations on here.
I'm looking around. Everything's hand watered out here, isn't there?
For the most part, yeah.
So how do you handle the summertime?
Water. No, we try to make sure that things are properly planted up. We try to have to water the whole place in one day. We have a few areas under sprinklers. We should have a few more areas just in case we get in a bind or something. But we have to do a lot of we got summertime. One of our biggest jobs in the summertime is watering. It really is. Yeah. Let me show you over here. God, I love this azalea here. There's a series of Satsukis that have these curl leaves. Look at the leaf on this here. And the first time I saw these, I thought they had a disease or something, but a naturally curled leaf. And the Japanese call these rimpu. I have no idea what rimpu means. If it means curl leaf or dragon's tongue or what, but curl leaf. And this is one of my favorites. It's called Shiryu no Hamari. Intense purple. Some of the flowers will be complete and some will be split petaled. And that's not quite, well, this is falling apart here, but you can see this was individual petals. It's got 2 petals missing. But some of them will be split petals, some will be solid. It's one of the last azaleas to bloom for us. It's very late. This is the middle of May, but this will go into June, and it might go into maybe the first part of July, but very, very late. And I should add that some of the Satsuki azaleas, not all of them, I say about a third of our Satsuki azaleas will give us a secondary fall bloom, say about September, October.
Is that common?
Well, on about a third of them. Yes, it is for us. Now, I don't know if it's common in Japan. I don't know if they get colder sooner than we do. I don't know if it's a California thing or if in Japan they have the same phenomenon or not. But I say about a third of our Satsukis will give us a little shot in the fall. Then they shut down for the winter. You don't see them again until late.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, the curl leaf thing is kind of interesting. We get a bug on our azaleas called leaf roller moth, and I'm looking around for
Oh, the one that curls up, balls it up.
What it does, I'll give you an example. What it does is the bug. It's from a moth, and the moth lays its egg on the azalea. The little worm chews the azalea, and then the worm will eventually make its cocoon by curling the leaf over like that. And we thought, boy, they're going to love this. All you got to do is crawl in. They don't touch this because they cannot bend the leaf the way they want to. This leaf is bent this way. They can't bend the tip down because it's too bent the wrong way. So this is a leaf roller moth
nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you have a lot of plants out here. What's your favorite one?
Satsuki.
Whatever.
Oh my goodness. I like if I had to leave with one plant, and I'll probably give you a different answer if you ask me tomorrow. I love azaleas. I like camellias. Camellias are a little sturdier, I would say, a little easier to grow. I like semi-doubles. I like stamens. And as opposed to most people on camellias like the full flower, not with the stamens showing. I would either take Silver Waves, which is a nice white with a yellow stentor, or I would take the Giulio Nuccio, named for my grandfather. It's a nice rosy red, makes a nice big handsome plant. And I might give you a different answer tomorrow, but those
are your 2 favorite. You have anything right now that are in bloom?
No, those ones I don't think so. Well, you might be a stray. I'll take a look around. We're pretty much not in bloom on camellias. There might be a stray flower here and there. So.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go to one other Satsuki place. Oh, I got to show you one called Kazan.
I won't, thank you.
Okay, this is Kazan, and it's really slow. This is a true dwarf, really slow growing. It's almost like a rock. It's one of the Satsukis. It's easy to propagate, except the cuttings are so damn small. The cutting wood is the hardest part to get on this guy here. You can't get a piece of cutting wood that's any bigger than that there. So just hard to handle. They're not hard to root or anything, hard to handle. but it's just tough as nails. A lot of our dwarfs tend to be kind of wimpy. We tend to drown them to death. They're slow growing. This is one of the hardier ones. It's just a nice, simple, single flower, and I've always liked it because it has these black stamens that are like 5 black dots. So very pretty.
Oh, look at that.
Like, you can almost stand on it and not break a branch.
Wow.
Really
stiff.
These are probably 8 and 10 years old. They're just really pokey. But anyway, a bunch of Satsukis all through it. Here, a lot of stock plants, you know. We keep this so until we don't sell our last plant by accident. But
Oh, that's really unusual. The one with the really thin
oh,
leaf.
that one's not a Satsuki.
Oh, it's not?
No, this one is. This guy here.
Yes.
This is a cultivar of Macrocephalum. If I'm not mistaken, it's either a Chinese or Japanese species. I should know this. Well, they're found in both places. Anyway, but this is a selection. It's called Macrocephalum linearifolium, and real tiny narrow leaf, and a tiny. The lavender flower is the same way, split petal and narrow petals, and it's just a different kind of azalea. But this blooms at the normal time of year. It's not a Satsuki azalea, but it's just a really different leaf on it though.
That's weird. It's really like unusual. It caught my eye immediately.
Oh yeah, really cool. Yeah, you can make a good bonsai on this guy, but it may be blooming at the wrong it wouldn't be blooming at Satsuki time, you know. Anyway,
It's just so beautiful to be able to walk, just to see the mother trees.
yeah. I'll show you one over here. That's one of our hybrids. I don't know if it was an actual cross or we just collect a seed. I think the parent might be Valo, which is an old Satsuki variety we've had, but this is one that we developed here. We just call it May Showers. It's a Satsuki, or part Satsuki anyway. And this one's been able to take a lot of sun. We've had this in a lot of sun and gotten away with it. But very pretty azalea though. Anyway.
You got your most unusual plant you have. It doesn't need to be flowering, just the most unusual that you got.
Well, you saw one of them there. I would say for plant, the unusual plants, Kazan I showed you, that real tight, compact one. The curly leaf one, the Shiryu no Homari, the one with the funky leaf. I've got several of those. That's my favorite. And then I would say, yeah, those three. I would say Kazan, that Macrocephalum linearifolium, and then the Shiryu no Homari. But then I'll show you our most unusual flower. Okay.
Oh, now I'm excited.
Okay. I'm not saying it's the prettiest, but it's so unusual.
Well, we said the most unusual because, you know, we're at a nursery. We have to say the most unusual.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's one of them. This is not my favorite. We got these stringers, Shirito no Taki. Guess what? No petals. That's it, guys. You wouldn't want a whole yard full of those, but it's all stamens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that, how weak is it or how strong the
Well,
plant
no,
is?
it's a good medium growing. It's just a nice, good medium growing.
But no petals.
No petals. Once in a while we'll get a straight petal. There's another one called Shisui. And my favorite one is a cross we did. We did a cross with one called Benigas, which is a nice, simple salmon. And then
Why would a plant?
Why? Well,
Why, right? Why?
well, the one I'm going to show you called Spider Dance, I think it's kind of pretty. It has more stamens, and it's kind of airy, just really kind of like a big fuzzball. You know, but I say you wouldn't want a whole garden full of these, but but the Japanese love weird stuff like this.
But that's really unusual. That takes the cake.
This is hey, we get a petal blight on azaleas with this petal rot. We have found the cure for petal blight. No petals. Anyway, let me show you. Let me see if I can find Benigasa, and I'll show you Shisui. And then I'll show you the cross we did, and the offspring I like better than this one or Shisui.
That's hilarious. I love it. You know, things like that we never see in the, on the commercial side.
No, but you see them on the bonsai. Some guys do bonsai. This is just looks like a pine tree in the mist. When you do a bonsai. Let me see if I can find a Benigasa. This one here, same variety. So this one is once in a while you get a straight petal on this one, but generally this is all stamens. This one will do both, split petals. And then no petals on the same plant. So this is Shisui. And I cross it with this one here, which is Benigasa. and I'll show you the offspring. This is spider dancing, and these are the two parents. I think it's a cool looking azalea.
Oh wow, is it very different?
Yeah, but see, the petal, the stamens are real long. I prefer it when it doesn't have the petals. But we get a few petals on this. I think I like it without the petals the best.
That's really unusual.
I think so. And this is it's showy enough, you know. It's not. I think it's showier than this plant and showier than the parent plant. Anyway, the cross was the parents. These are the two parents of this guy here.
That's
We had a salmon one too. It just says salmon is this, but the stamens were shorter and it didn't quite have the show of this one here. I think this is showy. You know, but I'm saying though, it's just weird enough that I don't know if you wanted a whole garden full of it. But
yeah, it's just one or two plants are like, what the heck's wrong with this guy?
Exactly, but it's spider dancing.
So you guys are open.
We're closed Wednesdays and Thursdays. We're open the other days. Starting in June, we close Sundays. We take Sundays off because not much in bloom. Our blooming season really goes. There's a few things in June, but not a lot. So June through December, we're closed on Sundays. January through May, when things are in bloom, we're open Sundays.
And then you guys do mail order?
We do mail order. Yeah, you can contact us if you want to contact us about mail order and stuff like that.
Perfect. I'll put the description. I'll put all your information in the description below. And if you guys have a great time, give me a thumbs up. Thanks a lot, Tom, for your time today.
Tom, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.